Okay. Rename. Original sound on and recording. Here we go. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Will.
Hi, Jody.
Hi. Nice to see
Will is here too. I don't know what he's doing, but he's here.
on the screen. Is he on a different screen or?
No, he's here. He was doing something. It's just hard to put the screen where we can both see you because we stagger and sit next to each other in our space.
I know. Do you have a big, are you using a small laptop or?
It's an iPad, but it's a fairly large iPad like yours.
Okay, good. Whatever you can do to get it to see, take a moment to set it up. Make sure everybody can
You want it here? Is that better?
Okay, good.
She still can't see us, but she can sort of see your head.
We are recording. Give other folks a moment. I know there's a couple of people who can't join us today, but we have a couple more minutes to let people come on. How is my voice sounding? Is it too loud, too soft, too distorted?
No, it sounds good. I can turn the volume up. It's a tiny bit soft, but I can turn our volume up.
Okay. Yeah, and also, how does that sound? Does that sound a little overwhelming, or can you hear the guitar okay?
No, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's funny because people tell me it sounds fine on their end, and then I listen to the recording and it doesn't sound fine at all to me. It sounds like it's too loud or too soft, or, so the sound on Zoom is it's difficult to get it to a science and to a level of professionalism that I prefer, but it's the best I've got right now. So.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Jyoti, I just want to confirm there's no class next week, right?
Yes, and I was going to remind people of that once other people join us. There's my mom coming on.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love that.
And Dory is joining us. Yeah, let's give you a moment to just kind of
Hello.
Connect. Hi, Mom. Can you put your video on?
Can you see me and hear me?
No, I can hear you, but I can't see you. So you need to do whatever you did last time to get the
I know
video.
what one does.
All right, well, Phil,
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Video?
There you go. Oh, yeah, no, you went off. I had you for a moment and then I lost you.
What? What'd you say? Can you hear me
You
now?
were on for a moment. I can hear you, but I can't see you. So you need to press start video. There you go. You lost it again. I don't know what happened. There you go. Yes. You just
technologically a moron here. Okay.
That's good. Okay. Now I see Dory. Dory, I don't see you. I just see a reddish.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Maybe you have the screen reversed, like the camera reversed or something. And I don't know. There you go.
Thank you.
And I see Marianne joining us. I just see that letters M-A. I don't actually see you, Marianne, but I'm glad that you're joining us. And I know it's always nicer to see your faces and to be able to see you at least a little bit. And if you do have connectivity problems where having the video on makes it freeze up or something, then certainly you can go off of your screen. So do what serves you best for the class. So just a little moment of check-in here. Did anybody get to work with either last week's video or previous videos? How are you doing with those?
Sorry. I will.
Okay. Well,
Jyoti, I think I need a lesson in downloading them onto an iPad instead of a computer.
That, I'm not sure I can give you that lesson.
No, I've got to find somebody. That's my issue.
Yeah, I'm not the most technologically savvy person myself, so, but I'll see if I can ask around if you can find anyone to help you with that. Because the videos, there's only a certain amount of storage that I have online for the videos, so I'm going to have to cycle some of them out. That's why it's important. And it says that my internet connection is stable, so I'm hoping that you can still hear me and see me. I don't know what that was. It could have been like a little temporary blip. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen, Jyoti.
Oh, yeah, my internet connection is unstable. Am I frozen still?
No,
No,
Okay. I'm okay now?
yeah, a little muffled, but
All
you're
right.
moving.
I don't know, I don't know what's happening with that. Let's see, somebody else is on with us. Barbara is here. Barbara Chasen, welcome. Glad that you're with us. So yeah, feel free if you need to come off of mute once I put you on mute. If I'm freezing up, I'll see what I can do to try to reset the internet. But glad you're all here. And I just want to remind everyone that next week we won't have class because, oh, hi, Kathy. See Kathy joining us. Welcome. Next week we will not have class because it's Columbus Day weekend. Weekend, whatever you like to, however you like to relate to it. I'm taking it as a holiday, and I'll be in the Adirondacks. So that's where I'll be next week. But we will resume on the 18th for our last class. All right, everyone, let's come into your yogic seat in your chair. And find your long and lifted spine and open heart. And we're just going to begin. I'm going to put you on mute. Always come off of mute if you need to. And I'll be sitting on the floor just to stay close to the screen for the first few moments of our practice before I move to the chair. I'll put myself in the spotlight there. But what I would like to invite you to do is to find that long and lifted central channel of your spine, the Shoshona. Root your tailbone down into the earth, lift the crown of the head to the sky. Take a long, slow, deep breath in, and just feel the range of motion of your breath this morning. When you feel full, see if you can play with that and see if you can take in a little bit more breath. The more fully we breathe, the more aliveness we invite in. And then exhale with a sigh, just a decompressing breath, and see where you can soften in the shoulders, in the face, in the belly, in the arms, the jaw, all those places of chronic tension. Another deep breath in, fill all the way up and draw the shoulders up toward the ears, clench the fists. We're going to get tight, 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 scrunch up the face. Tighten the belly, tighten the buttocks, tighten the thighs. See if you can curl your toes a little bit. Get tight, tight, tight from feet to head. All the muscles in the face, tight, tight, tight. Hold, hold, hold. And then release, make a little noise with that, letting go. And feel that release like melting honey, softening around the face, down the neck, down the shoulders, down the arms, the fingertips, down the torso, down the legs, right down to the feet. We'll do another one like that. Inhale, draw in a little bit more breaths. Draw the shoulders up, scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Get tight, clench, clench, clench. Tighten the jaw, tighten the muscles around the eyes. Nobody can see you because we've all got our eyes closed. So get as scrunched up and silly looking as you can. Tighten every muscle in the body, including get that pelvic floor lift. See if you can draw the pelvic floor muscles up toward the navel. This is called Uddiyana Bandha or root lock. Tight, 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 tight. Hold and let it go. Find that softening. Sometimes just finding that tension and then allowing it to release just reminds us of how lovely it feels to let go. And then just find your long, slow, deep yogic breaths that begin in the belly, move up and expand through the ribs and lift up into the chest. 3 parts, keeping the shoulders drawn down away from the ears, keeping the crown of the head, the very top of the head lengthening skyward, tailbone rooting downward. Exhale slowly through the nose, emptying chest, ribs, and belly. And at the end of your exhale, the navel draws in toward the spine. Just connecting with the most basic yogic breathing. Long 3-part yogic breaths. In and out through the nose, the lips are softly closed. I want to make sure that everybody understands the Ujjayi breath, because I often refer to Ujjayi. And Ujjayi is sometimes called the victorious breath, because it invites the mind to stay focused on the breath, which invites us into the present moment with every inhale and exhale. And it's a little contraction of the back of the throat. Some of you have been practicing with me for a while, so you know this breath. But some of you may be new to this, so I want to make sure everybody knows it. So I invite you to open your eyes for a moment, and I will demonstrate. We can all try this together, even if it's a review. To take a deep breath in through the nose, and we'll practice it first by opening the mouth and exhaling with a little, as if you're whispering, contracting the throat, as if you're fogging up a mirror in the wintertime, when you want to go, you should hear that whisper sound. So you're feeling the glottis engaging and the airway narrowing as you go. So it kind of sounds like Darth Vader breathing. And victorious, because that sound is going to be your anchor to bring you back to the present moment with each breath. Now, what we want to do with Ujjayi is we want to keep that little bit, it doesn't have to be too strong. You don't want to restrict so much that you can't take a comfortable breath, but just enough so you feel that whisper in the back of your throat and feel it kind of like brushing the back of your throat. And you want to do it actually with the mouth closed. So let's try it now, inhaling and exhaling with the mouth open halfway. And then halfway through your exhale, close the lips gently and see if you can still keep that whisper sound and that brushing feeling in the back of the throat. So you're still feeling that little bit of narrowing, a little bit of constriction, but not anything that's so tight that it restricts the good feeling of a deep breath. So it kind of goes internal, so you feel that whooshing sound in the back of the throat. And see if you can keep a gentle restriction as you inhale through the nose. Just a gentle narrowing of the airway. And then exhale, feeling that sound in the back of the throat as you exhale through the nose, keeping the lips closed. That's your Ujjayi breath. It takes a little practice to get that. And let the eyes close so that you can just feel and hear the whisper sound of the breath calling you into present moment awareness with each inhale and each exhale. Belly expands, ribs open, chest lifts on the inhale. And exhale, emptying from top to bottom. 2 more breaths like that. Allowing the mind to be victorious over all of the distractions and all of the chatter. Allowing each in-breath to be a releasing and letting go of anything that doesn't need to be here. Tension in the body, distraction in the mind, or heaviness in the heart. And then keeping that, the invitation is to keep that breathing practice going throughout our practice today. We're going to bring it into letting the breath move the body. Starting with bringing the hands onto the thighs or knees. Inhaling, heart opens. We're taking that seated cat-cow. All the 6 movements of the spine. Roll forward on your sit bones. Open the chest. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Roll to the back end of your sit bones. Flowing with breath, keeping that ujjayi sound moving, lifting the chin, opening the throat. Exhale, tucking the chin, rocking back. So your sitting bones are like those blades of a rocking chair. Once you're syncing up this movement of spinal extension and flexion with a long, slow, deep breath, you can just stay here, or you can deepen it by taking those open arms and exhaling opposite hands to shoulders, dervish bow. Inhale, opening. Exhale, crossing arms the other way. Just inviting your flexion in the spine in those back bends and forward bends, extension and flexion. One more round, opening and bowing. And then coming back up to long spine. Let the right arm lift. I'll mirror you here. The left hand can just gently support yourself on the bottom of the chair. Lift up. Reach long through those fingertips. Unshrug the shoulders. Take it into a side bend. Reaching long and away with the right fingertips. Notice if your elbow's bending and see if you can lengthen. Get a little deeper into that side bend. Exhale. Inhale up to center and take a twist to your right. So bring the opposite hand, the left hand, to the outside of the right knee, and turn and look over your right shoulder, lengthening up from root to crown. Inhale up to center, palms come together, back to the heart. Other side, lift the left arm, let the right hand just support yourself on your chair. Find length and space and take it into that side bend. Both sit bones root down, reach long and away. Expand and open the space between the ribs, reaching up, breathing right into those left fingertips as you reach. Big breath in, and then exhale, release into a twist to your left. Melt the shoulders away from the ears as you lengthen up through the crown of the head. Look over your left shoulder. Arms reach and rise to come back to center. Palms join, return to the heart. Each time the palms come together like that, you're coming back to the breath and the sensations in the body in this present moment. Hands reach back behind you. Use a strap if you need to. If you need a little space between your hands to take your yoga mudra. See if you can straighten the elbows, shoulder blades want to kiss one another. You want to be nice and forward on your chair. Open, expand, blossom open the heart. Or let the spirits fly in and out, as my favorite poem says. Open up the window in the center of your chest and let the spirits fly in and out. That's from Jalaluddin Rumi from the 13th century. Expand and spread through the heart. If it feels good, you can fold forward, lifting the hands, letting the head hang down. Lift, lift, lift. Let the hands draw to the front of your space. Then release the arms. Let them just hang down for a moment. You come into your forward bend. Find some movements of the head, yes, no, and maybe. If folding all the way forward over your legs and putting your head down below your waist is not appropriate for you, you can just press your hands into your thighs and just let the chin sink into the chest. Get a little stretch in the back of the neck that way. And then hands press into the thighs to invite you to come back up. Just take a moment to roll your shoulders one way. Big circles. As the shoulders drop back and down with that spirit of letting go of something in the mind, in the body, and in the heart that doesn't need to be happening here. Try rolling forward. It's okay to make a little noise on that exhale. Breath is a great way to release tension. And then coming back into stillness. And we invite you to let the hands, fingertips come to the shoulders so the elbows point straight out to the side. If this doesn't feel comfortable for your arms, you can have your hands on your hips or your rib cage a little bit higher. You want to be open through the heart, arms out to the side. We're going to inhale through the nose, center, and exhale through the mouth into a twist to one side. Inhale, center through the nose, exhale. Turning. Inhale, center, exhale through the mouth, turn. So these are some kriyas or actions that we use with the breath that cleanse and purify and increase the flow of prana. Inhale, center, through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And if it feels comfortable, you can pick up the pace. Otherwise, keep it slow. Fullness of breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, center, exhale to the side. Keep your sitting bones grounded and your knees pointing straight ahead. So it's just from the waist that you're twisting. And back to center. And release. You might feel a little lightheaded, a little what I call the prana buzz. Take the arms and reach them high. Reach through right, reach through left. Exhale, sweep them down. Hands return to the thighs. Just back to your yogic seat. Just notice what's alive in you. Notice the movement, warmth, tingling of prana. We're going to do one more kriya like that. This one is called the breath of joy. Typically this is done standing, but we're going to do it seated. The arms are going to swing forward, so you're going to be swinging your arms. So make sure you're unobstructed to try to get as forward on your chair as you can so your arms are unobstructed. They're going to swing forward to shoulder height. You're going to take 3 sips of air in, 1 strong exhale through the mouth. So it's inhale through the nose, front, and then inhale a little more out to the side, arm shoulder height. And then the last sip of air, you fill up as big as you can, reaching the hands all the way to the sky. And then you're going to exhale with a ha, and let the head fall forward, chin to chest, rounding the spine. So you're going to come into a little bit of Shlumpasana here as you let it all go, kind of like a rag doll, folding forward. So inhale, shoulder height. Inhale, side, shoulder height. Inhale, up to the sky, filling all the way up. Exhale, ha, through the mouth. So through the nose, inhale, 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 and through the mouth, ha. Inhale, 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 ha. Through the nose, inhale, 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 exhale through the mouth, ha. So there's a sense of letting go, and as you inhale, you're inviting in all that life force, ha, all that fresh prana, fresh possibility, life energy, ha, all that joy. So whatever it is that you want to open up to with those inhales, invite it in and exhale, ha, letting go whatever blocks you from that joy, from that possibility. Ha, inhale. Inhale, inhale, ha. Inhale, 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 ha. Slow it down. Inhale, 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 ha. And one last one. Inhale, 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 ha. Arms reach and rise to the sky. Gathering in that joy, palms tucked together. Exhale, draw it down the center line to the heart. And then just let the backs of the hands rest on the thighs, palms turned up. Just take a moment in stillness, let the eyes close. Just feel where you notice some increased aliveness, warmth, heat, tingling, flow of prana. The prana buzz. open your eyes with a soft gaze. I'm going to do a little more upper body warm up here. This next pose is called Gomukhasana, or the face of the cow. Don't ask me why they call it that. But it is a great stretch for the upper arms and the chest and the shoulders. It also helps invite better posture when we do the full expression of this pose. Now, this pose is usually involved with seated on the floor with a very intense cross-legged position, but we're just going to focus right now on the torso and arm position here. I'm going to invite you into a warm-up. First, I want to have you take your strap, and maybe just place the strap around your neck, because you're probably going to want to use your strap for this pose. So just have it loosely draped around your neck or on the back of your chair. And I'm going to turn around and face this way, just so you can see me. Hopefully you can see me pretty well here. And we're going to warm up with some opening movements synced up with your breath. So I invite you to find your long spine and take your right arm and let it rise up on the inhale. And on the exhale, touch opposite shoulder, elbow point straight up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float that arm down. Other side. Arm rises on the inhale. Touch opposite shoulder with your fingertips, or as far as you can get to opposite shoulder. Elbow point straight up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float down. Again, other side. Right arm lifts. Inhale. Exhale, touch opposite shoulder with your hand. Inhale up. Exhale, float it down. Syncing up movement and breath. Other side, left arm lifts with the inhale. Exhale, touch opposite shoulder. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float down. Now we're going to try both at the same time. Inhale, big wide circle up. Reach through the right, reach through the left, and then see if you can touch opposite shoulders with both fingertips. And elbows as straight up as you can. Inhale up to center and float them down on the exhale. Just use that exhale to really let go of any residual tension that might build up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, touch opposite, hands to opposite shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float down. Then we're going to try it from the other direction underneath. So inhale, right arm up. Exhale, float it down back behind you, and see if you can bring the back of your hand to the opposite scapula or shoulder blade. Fingers pointing up. And draw your elbow that's pointing straight down a little bit back behind you. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, float the hand down. Other side, left arm rises up. Exhale, draw it all the way back behind you, bringing the back of the hand to the opposite shoulder. So you're going to feel that as a stretch in your upper arm and shoulder. Elbow point straight down. So your palm faces away from you, back behind you. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float it down. Other side again. Right arm lifts. Inhale. Exhale. And if you can't get to the opposite shoulder, just bring it to as far as you can. Maybe just as close, maybe to the lower ribs. Whatever you can do to invite the elbow to point down and draw back. Inhale up to center and release. Other side, inhale, lifts up. Exhale, back behind you. Try to touch opposite shoulder blade with the back of the hand, or as close to it as you can get. Inhale up and exhale. Now see what we can do with both arms together. Just play with it. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, cross your arms behind you. Opposite hands, backs of the hands to the shoulder blades. So it's kind of pointy wings. You might feel them sticking out here as you reach back. Inhale up and exhale down. And just wiggle and waggle the shoulders. Loosen the arms a little bit. Now here's where your strap might be helpful. So I'm going to invite you to place your strap over your right shoulder. And this is where we're going to come into the full expression of the pose. Inhale your right arm up, and then pat yourself on the back. Elbow point straight up. And take the other arm, the left arm, and invite that elbow to point straight up. So you're going to just help it to point as straight up as you can. You might not be able to get all the way straight, Keep lifting up through the crown of your head. So your fingers are going to be pointing down. You're patting yourself on the back because you deserve a pat on the back. And then you're going to reach around, do that same stretch. You're going to reach around, and if it's available, you can hook your fingers together. Maybe just the tip of the longest finger, or maybe all fingers will hook. One elbow up, one elbow down. A lot of people can't get their hands to touch, so that's where the strap comes in useful. Just grab the bottom of the strap with the left hand, the top of the strap with the right hand, and walk your fingers as close together as you can. One elbow up, one elbow down. Don't let this upper arm press the head down. Stay long in the spine. So you might even need to lean your head back a little bit into your arm to find that elegant lift. So what's happening here is we're having a nice wide open heart. This is called Gomukhasana, sometimes called the face of light. Big breath in, and then release the strap and unwind. You're going to feel a nice, and just bring that, let's see, I got to go this way to figure out which side I was doing. And you can bring your left arm, I'm mirroring you here, your left arm in front of your chest, just to press in to the chest. And then if you want, you can take it into your eagle arms, just reaching your hands out in opposite direction. If you remember eagle arms, wrapping elbows, wrapping wrists, or just give yourself a nice hug here. Yeah. And release. We're going to take it on the other side now. I'm just going backwards. You don't have to sit backwards. I'm just going backwards so that you can see. And the left arm is going to lift up. Pat yourself on the back and invite that elbow to point straight up as best you can. Stay centered on your sit bones, long in the spine. Pat yourself on the back. And here it's helpful to have the strap around the other shoulder. So you might want to grab the top of the strap and let the other hand come around back behind you. Walk your fingers along the strap close to one another. Or if it's available to hook your hands, you can hook your hands. One elbow points up, one elbow points down. Elegant long spine, reach up through the crown of the head. You want to keep your chin level. One more breath. If this hurts, don't do it. You can lengthen up through your strap if you need to. And release. And then the hand that was behind you, I think this time it would be your right hand. Bring it in front of you. Press the upper arm into your chest. Maybe I'm backwards. I was going backwards and now I'm mirroring you. So if I screw up right and left, forgive me. You know what side you're on. And then take it into eagle arms with the other arm underneath. Remember, eagle arms. You're going to wrap your elbows, tuck your one elbow inside the other. If your palms, if wrapping the wrist isn't available, just bring the backs of the hands to one another. Point your thumbs toward you, or hook your finger, pinky finger and thumb, and play with it a little bit, or just give yourself an embrace. Releasing your eagle arms. Turn the palms up. You can take some little wiggles and waggles that feel good to release this, and then turn the palms up. Let your eyes close for a moment. After each sequence, it's a great practice just to be still for a moment and notice the reverberation of the sequence of poses. What aliveness has been cultivated, how you feel, where you feel the life force moving. And then you can release, if your strap is around your neck, you can let that go for right now. And I invite you to come into hip circles. We're going to move down from the upper body, down to the lower body now. And I invite you to just gently hold the sides of your chair. This also works the lower abdominal muscles, the whole core actually, as well as opening through your hip. So you're going to lift your right knee and find some circles. Start with the circles small, so that you're going to lift your knee and lift your foot off the floor, and you're going to be drawing circles with your knee. And notice how the whole torso, the whole core activates here. Let the circles get a little bit bigger. Just see how big you can make those circles. And notice if your spine wants to go into Shlopasana, and see if you can stay active, long and lifted with the shoulders over the hips. So you're going to find this, might find this a little bit of a challenging core practice, as well as maybe some fatigue in the leg. One more big circle, and release. And take some circles of the other. Notice if you're gripping the chair and see if you can just be a little more relaxed there, lengthening up, and start with small circles. And then let the circles get a little bit bigger. Keep that sense of that long line from your tailbone to your crown as you're finding, see how wide open with your and then rest. We're going to take the right knee into a figure four pose. You're going to turn the right leg out. This is also called the seated pigeon. And you want to meet above your ankle to your opposite thigh. Centered on your sit bones, long in the spine. You can press with your hand, right hand into your right knee. So I'm being your mirror here. Do you feel the juice? Do you feel that hip opener? Maybe a stretch on the outside of the thigh, stretch in the glutes. And either stay here and breathe and enjoy, or fold forward onto your forearms, or maybe folding all the way over the legs. Sometimes it can be helpful to have a block underneath you to press into just to support yourself. So go for the juice here, the place where the sensation is strong. And you have to breathe into it a little bit, but not where it hurts. Just you want to go to that, what I call the ooh yeah place. I always say that in yoga there are 3 vowels. There's ooh, there's like that ooh, and ah, when you're really enjoying a stretch. But if you're going ee, that is what you don't want. You want the oohs and ahs, but not the e, because that means that there's some pain that's causing you to tense up. So you don't want any tension here. You want to find the ooh and ah place. Or maybe even, oh, it's discovering something new. All right. When you're ready to release, you can press into your figure four legs to come back up. Yum, yum. Notice the difference between your left and right side. Maybe give it a little shake out. And try the other side. You might need to lift and use your hands to lift your thigh up and in toward your belly. Turn it out. So use your other hand to get yourself in proper position. If having your knee, your opposite knee, in this case would be your right knee, stacked over your ankle feels a little too intense for the stretch, on the left side you can slide it forward a little bit, and that will lower that thigh just a little. So see how that feels. So breathe and explore. Every practice that we do, I always say it's not about Simon says do this, Simon says do that, but it's an opportunity to practice yoga as inquiry, as an exploration of what's alive in you. To notice where you can deepen, where you can soften, where you can let go. To notice whether the breathing is restricted or where there's places of tension that you're inadvertently holding. Where you can invite a surrender. Where you can practice being with something that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone. But notice how that edge can change a little bit. You can practice any of the variations that you did, folding over or pressing on this side. The edge is actually something that changes moment to moment and breath to breath. and changes day to day. So each time you come into a pose, it's actually a new experience. When you're ready to release, come back up nice and slow, back up to seated and unwind from your figure 4. Shake out the legs. And just take a moment to notice the reverberation before we come into standing by our chair. So from here, I'm going to have my chair go sideways just so that you can see from your view. And I'm going to invite you to come into downward facing dog. In the past, we've done holding onto the back of the chair, letting the whole back of the torso grow long with the hands in line with the shoulders, which are in line with the hips, pressing the tailbone and sitting bones back to stretch the backs of the legs. So you can take it that way. The other way, which invites the body to come a little closer to the traditional downward facing dog that you would do on a mat, would be to have the hands on the flat part of the chair. Reach your hands toward the back edge of your chair and let the head drop down. For some of you, having your head lower than your heart might not be appropriate, so you can take the other version of it. You want to spread the sit bones wide and engage Uddiyana Bandha, the navel lift. Navel draws in and up. Bandha means lock, so it's actually locking your core a little bit to protect your lengthening spine. So navel draws in and up a little bit. Toes are pointing straight ahead toward your chair. Heart melts down. And maybe you need to rest your head on the chair. Maybe that feels good, or maybe you want to let it hang down. Shoulder blades try to draw toward the center as the heart melts in your downward facing dog. If this feels a little too intense on the backs of your legs for that hamstring stretch, you can bend the knees a little bit. Just keep your low belly pressing toward your thighs here. So if you notice that your upper back is rounding like this, or rather your lower back or upper back, if your spine is rounding, then you want to bend your knees a little bit more. It's okay to take a little bent knee here, but just press the low belly toward the thighs. To come out of this pose, you want to press into the hands, bring the shoulders over the wrists, and walk kind of into a standing table, and press yourself up nice and slow. See how you feel. Feel the benefits of that elongated spine. And then come to the side of your chair. How was that for everybody? Hopefully you enjoyed that downward facing dog. I'm going to invite you to do a sequence of poses now standing by the side of the chair. One is it's called the triangle pose, Trikonasana. You might benefit from having a block or even just a thick book on your chair here. You may or may not need it, but it's a good idea to have it available. Stand beside your chair with the feet kind of in the center point between the front legs and back legs. And widen your feet so that they're about as wide as the length of one of your legs. If you have balance issues where you'd feel more secure being a little shorter, a little less wide in your stance, you can do that. But traditionally, we go about as wide from heel to heel as the length of one of our legs. Then I'm going to invite you to turn the leg that's closest to the chair. So in this case, if I'm mirroring you, it would be your left foot turns perpendicular to the right, so that the heel lines up with the middle of the arch of the other foot. So if you were to draw a line from your heel to your arch, it would be a straight line. And you're going to turn your toes on the right foot in slightly toward your chair, just a little bit, and anchor down through the outer edge of that right foot. Now holding on to the chair, see if you can have your hip pointers stay pointing toward in the same direction as the front of your chair. So you're not going to turn your hips toward your chair. You're going to have them pointing toward me, away from you. You can start with your hand on your hip, your right hand on your hip. And you're going to keep the body in one plane here. So notice if your hips want to fold and go back, or your shoulders want to come forward. And you're going to try to keep everything in one plane. Lift the arches of the feet. So we're going to build a pose from the bottom up. Lift as if you're drawing energy up from the earth. So lift your arches. And as you lift and engage the arches, let that lift come all the way up through your legs, through your lower legs, through your kneecaps. Lift the kneecaps. Let the lift come up right through your thighs, so you're engaging the quadriceps. Lift all the way up. Let that lift come all the way up through your belly, through your spine, through your core, all the way up through your heart. And then drop the left hip. So you're going to tilt the spine. Stay long. So you're not going to come into a rounded spine here. Just going to pivot, kind of pivot at the hips so that your spine from tail to crown stays long. And then you can place that left hand on the chair. So see if you can come into this pose without rounding, sort of curving the spine or letting the head flop. Think about an arrow that goes from your tail right through your spine, right up through the crown of your head. Roll the upper hip back and feel how your belly muscles need to engage to keep that lengthening spine. Now, if coming all the way down to touch the chair is a little bit much, is a little bit long, too deep a fold for you, that's what how the block can be helpful. So you can press into the block or the book. Then the other hand can reach straight up to the sky. And so you have a long line from your lower hand to your upper hand. And keep the extending the spine or lengthening the spine from tail to crown. Long and wide, rolling that right hip, the top hip back, tucking the left hip under so your body's in one plane. If you want to play with this, you can take extended triangle, reaching long and away to the left with your right hand. Upper arm in line with the ear without bending elbow. And one other way you can play with this is reaching that upper hand back behind you and taking a bind, bringing the back of your right hand to your left hip, rolling the shoulder open. If it's comfortable, you can look up at the sky. Otherwise, stay looking forward just at the horizon. All right. One more big breath. And then reach up with that upper hand. Imagine a string like a golden cord hanging down. And we're going to press, engage the legs, press into the feet, activate the legs, and grab that golden cord to let it draw you up to center. All right. Step back, shake out the legs. That was your triangle pose, Trikonasana. And while we're standing on, we're going to do it on the other side, but before we do, let's just take a little balance play. While we're standing beside the chair, let your left fingertips rest on the chair as you lift your right knee to hip height. Open your wings, either one wing or one wing up, one wing down, or both wings. Soft shoulders, soft wrists, soft elbows. Fix your gaze into a spot on the floor a few feet in front of you. If you need to dip your toe in the water to steady yourself as crane, you can do that. Try to have a little micro bend in the standing leg. Soften the shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Soften the muscles around the face. Lengthen the breath. Find that slow, calming Ujjayi breath, which is very good to good practice to calm the nervous system. And release. And shake it out. And come to the other side. You're going to stand feet right between the front and back legs of your chair, just lined up with the middle of your chair. Step it out wide enough so that you're about a leg length width. Pivot on your right foot, so your heel lines up in a straight line with the arch, the middle of the back foot. Just turn the left toe. When I say back foot, it's really your side foot, your left foot. Turn your left toes in just slightly, not too much. And find your steadiness here. If you need to place your foot under the chair a little bit, that's okay. You can make it's actually easier to hold on to the chair that way if your foot is under the chair. Your hips pointing away from you, straight ahead. So turn your headlights so they're shining straight ahead and not toward your chair. So this is a hip opener, leg strengthener, and core strengthener as well as a lovely side stretch. Lift the arches of the feet. Let that lift come up through the lower legs, through the kneecaps. Lift, engage the quads as you lift the kneecaps. Let that lift come all the way up through the core. And either press into your block or into the seat of your chair and see if you can find that alignment where the torso is in line with your hips rather than folding forward. And your bottom hip draws forward a little bit, your top hip rolls back. And either keep your hand on your hip or reach up if that's available to you to grow nice and long from your lower hand to your upper hand. Notice if the head is flopping, and remember that the back of your neck is part of that long arrow of your spine. And that is a lovely stretch for the side body, leg strengthener, hip opener. You can take that extended triangle if you'd like, reaching long and away with your fingertips. You're going to need to engage your core, so see if you can draw the navel in and up a little bit to support that lengthening. That's your Uddiyana Bandha, abdominal lift. And maybe taking a bind, bringing the back of the left hand to the right hip, rolling the shoulder open. If you lengthen out through the crown of your head before you turn your gaze to look up at the sky, that is better for your neck. Makes it a little safer to do that, turning the head. But don't do it if it doesn't feel safe for you. Grab the golden cord, let it draw you up so you're going to feel your belly muscles engage. You can use your lower hand to press back up into that preparatory standing posture. And walk the feet together, shake them out. And then from here, this time left knee lifts, right knee softens, take your crane pose. Fixing your gaze a few feet in front of you on the floor. Find your balance. Feel the wind beneath your wings and enjoy. Notice if there's any place you can soften in the head, the neck, shoulders, face. And when you're ready to release, come back to standing in your mountain pose. Feet hip width apart, palms turn open, steady and comfortable. This is also called Samastiti, balancing evenly on both feet, equal balance. I'm going to invite you now to come down onto the mat. We're going to take a couple of poses seated on the mat with our legs stretched out before coming to lay on our backs. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to take your blanket. You'll probably find this a little easier and more accessible. If you take maybe one fold of a blanket underneath your sitting bones with your legs stretched out on your mat or folded blanket space. So I have my sit bones right on the front edge. Now you don't need your blanket to be really thick. Just a little bit is really all you need to invite the hips to tilt forward. But if you're sitting on the middle of your blanket, it's not going to be any different than sitting on the floor. Because what happens is when we sit on just with our legs straight, what ends up happening is that the low back wants to round, and you go in, and which causes the upper back to round, and you go into Shlomphasana, and you're sitting like this. What we want to find is a pose called Dandasana, which is essentially the same as mountain pose, except you've got your jackknife at the hips. You've got your feet in line with your knees, which are in line with those hip pointers. I'll face forward so you can see. Feet are flexed. So it's just like you're standing, only you're folded at the hips. and your shoulders are over your hips like they would be when you're standing. Long spine, and you're going to feel the lower ribs lift away from the hips. So notice that your core muscles are engaging here to support you in that long spine. The head is beautifully balanced, centered on the shoulders, so you're not letting your head flop down or tilt to the side or fall back. You want to invite that length in the back of the neck so the chin is level. If you have a little fold in your blanket, maybe 1 or 2 folds, you can decide how thick you need it. It'll be a little bit easier with your sitting bones right at the front edge of that blanket fold, so it invites the pelvis to pour forward a little bit. And that will help maintain that long spine. Hands underneath your shoulders, palms flat. Just find your Dandasana, staff pose. Let this be active, so you're going to flex the feet so the toes point straight up. You're going to draw the shoulders down and back. So this is not just a sitting around waiting for something to happen. This is actually a pose where your core is engaged, your legs are engaged, you feel your thighs engage a little bit here. The breath is deep. We're going to take a sequence of poses that stretch the low back and stretch the backs of the legs and open the hips. So I'm going to invite you from your Dandasana pose to draw the right heel in toward your body and then turn the knee out so you're coming into a tree pose, a seated tree pose. This is called Janushirasana. So your sole of your right foot is inside the left thigh or knee if you can't bend the knee enough to get it all the way to the thigh. You can bend it as much as you comfortably can. And you want to invite that hip opener centered on your sit bones and just let the outside of the right knee draw toward the floor. Keep the extended leg, the left leg active and long, foot flexed. Lengthen up through your spine and bring your fingertips down underneath your shoulders to invite a little lift and a little slight twist, very slight, so that your navel is lined up with your knee, turns toward your knee. Then arms rise, and we're going to exhale. We're going to fold over that leg. You can grab your calf, your ankle, or if it's available to hold your foot or your toes, you can do that. But you want to, again, find that arrow-like quality of the spine. So rather than letting your head flop down to your knee, see if you can imagine a line of energy going from the base of your spine right up through the whole back of your body, right through your spinal column, right out through the crown of your head. And you're going to lead with the heart, folding from the hip crease. Let the heart lead, so you won't go down quite as far, but you're going to feel a deep stretch in the back of your left leg. If the stretch is too intense, you can lift your knee just a little bit, maybe an inch, to take some of the pressure off. So you're going to feel a stretch in the low back, stretch in the back of the left knee. Lead with the heart, which is always a good practice in life. Back of the neck long, so keep the chin slightly tucked. Lengthening out through the crown of the head. As you inhale, back off a little and find more length. Exhale, fold a little more deeply. Sort of surrender and let yourself melt into the stretch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And again, if you can't reach your feet, if it's making your shoulders get tense and pulling your shoulders up to your ears, grab your leg, your lower leg, or you can use your strap as another possibility. Is you can take the strap and hook it around your foot and not make sure the strap isn't too long, but just kind of an extension of your fingers. So you don't want to be pulling back on the strap. You just want to have it be so it's a little easier to reach your foot. One more round, lengthening and deepening into the fold on the exhale. Let it be a process of inquiring what's alive in you in this stretch. And then releasing, coming back to seated in your tree pose. Now invite that right knee to draw up towards center and place your foot flat, just inside your thigh or knee. Wrap your left arm around that bent knee, okay? And then your right hand is going to reach forward And you're going to look over that right middle finger and then follow it around, all the way around back behind you till it's pointing back behind you, and then place that hand down behind you. So if you're sitting, your hand is going to be right behind you, either fist or flat. Not too far back, because that's going to cause you to lean back. So you want to find that elegant lift in the spine and turning to look over your right shoulder. So those of you who've been practicing with me for a while and feel that it's open to you, can cross that right foot over to the other side of your left leg. That makes it a little bit more intense. So hug in that right thigh, lengthen up through your spine, exhale, deepen into the twist. Lengthening on the inhale, deepening into the twist on the exhale. Release. Nice and slow. Extend your legs back and up and shake them out. And then from your Dandasana here, slide your left heel in and come into a seated tree position. Even on both sit bones, lengthen up, shoulders back and down. And press your fingertips in to invite a little lift, take a little turn, navel toward knee. And either use your strap or arms reach and rise and fold over, flat back. So if you let your spine round and let your head come down to the knee, which often feels satisfying for people, that might feel good, but what you're doing more is practicing just flexion of the spine rather than really stretching the hamstrings. You'll get a deeper stretch if you stay long. Don't go down as far, but lead with the heart and find that pulse where you back off on the inhale and invite that arrow-like length, and exhale, fold. Just go as deep as your body says it's okay to go. If you need to use the strap, you hook the strap around the instep of the foot, and that will allow you to free up, to soften any tension in the shoulders that builds up. So lengthening on the inhale as you back off, and letting yourself melt into it, just meeting your edge on the exhale. Lovingly meet your edge. Keep the chin tucked so that the back of the neck is long. So if you're kinking the back of your neck by looking up and forward, that breaks the flow of energy. So you want to lengthen through the back of the neck. And then on the next inhale, slowly release, come back up, and bring the left foot flat. Those of you who want to take a little more challenging expression can cross over. Otherwise, keep your heel close in toward the pelvis, the foot flat on the mat. Wrap your right arm around your left leg. Lengthen up root to crown. And then follow the middle finger around back behind you. And place that hand down right behind your low back on the mat to support you. So inhale, lengthen, root to crown. Exhale, deepen into the twist. Inviting that rotation of the spine to spiral up from your low back to your middle back to your upper back. Ujjayi breath, brushing the back of the throat. And releasing this twist when you're ready. Slowly unwind the legs, shake them out. And I'm going to invite you to find your way down onto your back very slowly. If you need to come onto your side first, and Then roll onto your back, however you can comfortably get there. Bend the knees to prepare for that bridge pose. We'll take a little rolling up into bridge. So the feet are about hip width apart, heels lined up with the center of the buttocks, hands down by your sides. Walk your fingers toward your feet. Let the backs of the shoulders soften into the mat. Knees are pointed up to the sky. Back of the head rests on the mat. And then inhale, slowly roll up. Lift the tailbone, the sacrum, the low back. So all the vertebrae in the lumbar spine roll up. Middle back rolls up. Roll up. See if you can lift the hips to the sky. Hips higher than the heart till you can get as high as you can, and then exhale, roll down one vertebra at a time, like that string of pearls, lifting and lowering one pearl at a time. Take your time and let yourself flow with breath. Couple more rounds of this lifting and lowering. Next time you roll down, if it's available to you, I probably should have said this before, but if you can find your block, I'm going to invite you to do this time the supported bridge. If you don't have your block available, you can do that lifted bridge the way we did it before and hold for maybe 3 breaths if you can, and then roll down. If you'd like to take a supported bridge, you would take your block and roll up, lift the hips as high as you can, press into the balls of the feet to lift your heels so that you can get a little more lift, and slide the block in the flattest position underneath your sacrum. So not the low back, not the sensitive lumbar area, but the sacrum. So if the block is going in sideways, sort of crossways to your body, the edge of the block, the edge of the block is going to line up with the very top of the butt crack. So that the flat part of the block is on the sacrum, those fused bones, that flat area where your bones are fused together. And you can just let the body rest here in a supported bridge pose. If it's available to you, you want to take this deeper and you can get your hips lifted higher, you can turn the blocks to the medium setting, and let your sacrum rest on the skinnier edge of the block. But if this is your first time trying this, maybe try it in the lowest setting. Turn your palms up as the arms are beside your body, and just take a moment to breathe in this restorative bridge pose. Follow the wave of breath that moves from belly up through the rib cage into the chest. You don't need to hold here or use really any efforting. Your body is well supported here on that block. And exhale, emptying chest, ribs, and belly. For those of you who want to try a little deeper inversion, this is a gentle inversion. Any inversion is really where we have the lower part of our body higher than the upper part of our body. And there are a lot of benefits to that. Physical, energetic, the impact that it has on the nervous system. So if you want to take this into a little deeper expression, if your block is in the flattest setting underneath your sacrum, you can try lifting your legs straight up in the air. If you're laying flat and you do not have a block underneath you, you can still place your legs straight up in the air and see if you can just let your feet rest over your hips. So either with your sacrum flat or your sacrum on the block, legs up in the air. And what we're inviting here is pressure taken off of the lower extremities and the blood vessels there, and allowing the blood from the lower extremities to pool down the legs toward the heart, nourishing the glands in the head and neck and throat. Reverse gravity is really excellent for the nervous system, invites calm, rejuvenation. So stay for 3 more deep breaths in this inversion. You can let your eyes close. And see if you can feel perhaps the subtle energy of the nourishing of the heart. And when you're ready to release this, slowly bend the knees and bring the feet down to the mat. If you have a block underneath you, press into the feet to lift the hips and slide the block away, rolling down the spine again, 1 vertebra at a time. And then again, slowly coming into Apanasana, the pose of the self-embrace, hugging the thighs in, rocking side to side. If you'd like to take Happy Baby, either grabbing the ankles or the soles of the feet or the big toes, you want to have your arms inside your legs here, so it's nice to grab the feet from the inside or the ankles. And draw the knees down and the inside of the thighs, draw down to frame your rib cage. You want to keep your legs in an L shape, the soles of the feet face the sky, shoulders and back of the head melts into the mat. Maybe you want to rock side to side a little bit, like a playful happy baby. Make baby sounds if you like. Put your big toe in your mouth. And then releasing. Bring your hands to your knees and just take a few nice hip circles here. Just the knees draw out in opposite directions and then draw in, the thighs draw in toward the belly. So you're kind of stirring the hips with the head of the thigh bone. One direction, giving them a little massage, and then you can circle them the other way. And then I'm going to invite you to come into Shavasana, the corpse pose for final relaxation. So perhaps placing a blanket under your knees, or a little blanket neck roll under your neck, if that's comfortable. Tucking the shoulder blades a little bit closer to one another so that the heart stays open. Palms turn up, so you're in that receptive mode. The feet are going to be a little wider than the hips. And let the toes just naturally turn out in opposite directions. Feel the backs of the shoulders softening into the mat. And let that softening just melt down the torso till you feel the middle back softening into the mat. The low back and the sacrum. With every out-breath, with every exhale, just let the whole back of your torso, from shoulders to hips, dissolve into the mat. The buttocks, the backs of the legs, backs of the thighs melt and release into the support of the earth. Backs of the knees and moving down the legs, like kind of like the feeling of honey, kind of melted honey flowing down the back body. Calves soften, backs of the ankles, the heels. Let the back of the neck soften into the mat, the back of the head. Let your arms be soft and heavy. No holding needed there. Sense of that honey melting down from the shoulders through the upper arms, through the elbows, through the lower arms, wrists, palms, and out the fingertips. And let that sense of softening move up the back of the head to the scalp and the crown of the head. And invite that sense of melting honey to move down through the forehead, unfurrowing and smoothing the brow, around the muscles around the eyes and the cheekbones, softening. Every exhale is an opportunity to let any tension dissolve. The temples, the jaw, the lips. Letting the tongue gently rest on the palate, the top roof of the mouth. And let that softening through the jaw melt down to soften down the sides of the neck and the throat, down through the chest, the heart, down through the rib cage, the belly, pelvis, down the fronts of the legs, the thighs, fronts of the knees, down the shins, tops of the feet, and out the toes. But all this prana, life energy, aliveness that you've opened to today, be received by every cell and by every energy channel in the subtle body. Let it be received as grace, the grace of being alive. Grace above me, grace below me, behind me, grace before me, grace around me, grace within me, everywhere there is grace. Peace above me, peace below me, peace behind me, peace before me, peace around me, peace within me, everywhere there is peace. Light above me, light below me, there is light behind me, light before me, light around me, light within me, everywhere there is light, there is peace, there is grace. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. Find any movements that bring you back into awareness of your body and present time. And when you're ready, you can roll over onto your side. Take a moment of pause there before slowly pressing yourself up to a seated position. Using your hand up, one arm pressing into the floor, top arm, and letting the head come up last. Either finding your way onto your chair or just comfortably seated on the floor if that's available to you. I invite you to bring your hands into prayer position in front of the heart. And let's close our practice with the sound. Exhale to Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I'll end the recording now if you would like to